Anthony Albanese will have to win this election. He can't just sit back and let Scott Morrison lose it. Morrison might have failed at governmenty things like defence and pandemic, climate action, a disaster. He might have failed at aged care, women, welfare, but he sure is very good at two things: marketing and PR, manipulating the media, sound bites, announcements, an absolute guru at making announcements. And we saw him in action last week. For months, the ABC 7:30 report had been whinging black and blue that Scott Morrison wouldn't come on their program. They wanted to interview him, but of course he was running around with his cheerleaders like Paul Murray from Sky News because, of course, they give him a good run. When the interview finally happened, Leigh Sales, who's one of the top interviewers in Australia, tried to take him to task, but she did not lay a glove on him. He sailed through. It was as though if he'd come down from another planet and watched this show, you had just witnessed the greatest Prime Minister in history. He had conviction, authenticity. He was utterly convincing. There was not one blooper. Of course, it was utterly fake. It was full of spin and falsehoods. It was full of deflections. But this is what Albanese is up against. Now we are in the election campaign. Scott Morrison is in his element. This is spin time. Morrison is a super salesman and he has the media behind him. If you look at the top three media houses, 7, 9, and especially News Corp. News Corp, out and out cheerleaders for Morrison. All the daily tabloids around the country, The Australian, Sky News, the shrill voices of Sky News hysterically baying for Morrison. That's what he's up against. And of course, there's a secondary news cycle because what does the ABC and the other people do, the radio people, when they get up in the morning? What do? They follow the agendas set by News and 9, by the newspapers, by their websites. These guys are all coalition cheerleaders. They're funded by the coalition, by subsidies from the government, and the government is now the biggest advertiser in the country, and that is just about to explode. So if you think these networks are going to sacrifice all this income for the sake of integrity and proper reporting, you've got to be kidding. So Morrison has the communications apparatus of Australia on his side. This is like in tennis tournament terms. We've been through all the early rounds. We've been through the quarters. We've been through the semis. And now this is the final. It's a different match. It's a different kind of match. It's running around, sound bites, and it's going to be nasty. It's going to be personal attacks. The two parties are very close on policy. So it's all going to be about character. And that means it's open slather on the other guy. And who's nastier? Who's willing to go lower? Well, I think we know the answer to that one. So this is no foregone conclusion. Even though Albanese is so far ahead in the polls, even though Labor is so far ahead in the polls, they can pull it back. So he's gone for the maximum he could, 6 weeks. We're going to hear 6 weeks. It's nightmarish. 6 weeks of spin, distractions, political theatre. The failures, the gross failures of this government will be nothing. This is a new game. And Albanese is going to have to play that game. And the media is going to follow on and just follow all that sort of shallow stuff without going to policy. So the question is, does the Australian electorate have the nous to be able to work out that this is just a show? Now, they have one thing on their side here. Prices are going up. Every time they go down to the supermarket, Australians will be reminded that the cost of living is going up and that wages have stagnated for 10 years while the cost of living has actually shot up right at the moment. If there are interest rate rises, that will not help the coalition. But at the moment, an Albanese government is no sure thing. Scott Morrison likes to say, I don't hold a hose. This is not my job. Well, right now, he's in his dream role, spinning, marketing, public relations. Like this video if you'd like to see us debunk all the myths and all the ridiculous political theatre and go hard in this election campaign on the things that actually really matter. As we sail towards the election, we'll keep you up to speed on all the developments in federal politics. We'll try to get you the real story, not
the exclusive,